Hello and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today we are in Jerusalem to talk about the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Who are they? Where are they today? And we will discover the incredible return of one of these tribes to the land of Israel after more than 2,700 years of exile. So if you are ready, let's get started. To talk about the 10 lost tribes, we first need to understand who the 12 tribes of Israel are and how they separated. And all of this starts with our patriarchs. The first of them is Abraham, who gives rise to Isaac, and Isaac gives rise to Jacob. And Jacob has 13 children, 12 boys and 1 girl, this with 4 wives, Leah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Bilhah. However, in Jacob's time, a terrible drought begins here in the land of Canaan, and they are forced to go down to Egypt to survive. He, his wives, and all his children. They arrive as a family, a large family, but a family. But after 400 years of slavery, and the family keeps growing and multiplying, reaching a few million people, and each of these children will give rise to an entire tribe, except Dinah, because at that time families were patriarchal. And that's why from Jacob's 12 sons will come 12 tribes. So the mystery is solved. The 12 tribes of Israel are the 12 sons of Jacob? Not exactly. What happens is that the tribe of Joseph will split into 2. It will split between Ephraim and Manasseh, and that's why if we count, we get to the number of 13 tribes of Israel, which is quite strange. But this is easily resolved by reading the Bible, because when the people come out of slavery in Egypt after 40 years wandering in the desert, they enter the promised land, and the promised land is divided among the 12 tribes. The 12 except Levi. Why? Because Levi, they receive a very important role. They are going to be separated to do God's work, and that's why they don't receive a unified territory like the other 12 tribes, but rather they receive cities throughout the entire territory so that they can be spread out, serving God and helping the other 12 tribes to serve God as well. And later the 12 tribes are unified under a large kingdom ruled by King Saul. After Saul comes King David, who turns Jerusalem, where we are, into the capital of the 12 tribes. But everything starts to change during the reign of King Solomon. Let's find out now. King Solomon marries, and with hundreds of wives and concubines during his reign, and a good part of them were foreigners who worshipped pagan gods. And over time, King Solomon also lets himself be influenced, and he will worship pagan gods here in Jerusalem. And as punishment, God will divide the unified kingdom into 2 kingdoms. But from the hand of Solomon's son, I will take the kingdom, namely the 10 tribes, and give them to you. And to his son I will give 1 tribe, so that David my servant always has a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city I chose to put my name. As we have seen, the kingdom is divided into 2. In the north is the kingdom of Israel, ruled by Jeroboam, and in it are 10 tribes of Israel. And in the south was the kingdom of Judah, ruled by Rehoboam, the descendant, the son of King Solomon. He will rule over the tribe of Judah, which was his own tribe, and also over the tribe of Benjamin. And where was Levi? Levi was scattered, part in each, the expansion of the Assyrian Empire, and that's what we're going to discover now. In the year 732 before Christ, the king of Syria, Tiglath-Pileser III, attacks the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, and takes a part of the 10 tribes and sends them into exile in Assyria. But this is a small minority of the 10 tribes of Israel. But unfortunately, the deportations continue with Shalmaneser V, who is the next king of Syria, continues taking people from the 10 tribes and sending them into exile. But the big blow will come with King Sargon II. He will completely destroy the kingdom of Israel and take the remnant of the 10 tribes and send them into exile. It's really going to be a destruction incomparable to the previous ones. That's right, it wasn't a policy just against the people of Israel. This was a policy of the Assyrian Empire to take peoples and relocate them to other regions. This way, there would be a smaller chance of that people rebelling against the Assyrians. But where were the 10 tribes taken? The Bible tells us the following: in the 9th year of the reign of Hosea, the king of Assyria conquered Samaria and took the Israelites to Assyria. He made them dwell in Hala, by the Habor, the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. But where are these cities today? There isn't a consensus among experts, but we know that the region is where Syria, Iran, and Iraq are located today. As you can see on the map of ancient Syria, indeed a multitude from the kingdom of Israel was expelled to the kingdom of Syria. And we will soon talk about who they are and how they are returning to Israel today. But before that, it's important for us to remember that not all of the 10 tribes were expelled. In the kingdom of Judah, the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and part of Levi already lived, but also part of the 10 tribes joined them. During the reign of Asa, around the year 850 before, and they flee to the kingdom of Judah and Jerusalem. That is, they flee to the kingdom of Judah and Jerusalem. That is from Judah more than 100 years before the destruction of Judah, more than 100 years before the destruction of the kingdom. Also during the terrible years of the kingdom's destruction and taking refuge within the kingdom of Judah, they literally arrive as refugees within the kingdom of Judah. They literally arrive as war refugees. And we have archaeological evidence of this. King Hezekiah needs to undertake colossal works in Jerusalem to accommodate that large number of refugees arriving. Among these works is the Great Wall and also the Pool of Siloam, to provide water and protection to this population that was growing every day. And the same King Hezekiah, he sends a letter to the north calling the remnants of the 10 tribes to come to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover together with the kingdom of Judah. This clearly shows us that yes, there were remnants left in the north. And another example that I want to give you is in the New Testament, in the book of Luke, when the book tells us about the prophetess Anna, who was from the tribe of Asher, one of the tribes that had been expelled. But she is a remnant of the tribe. There was a prophetess named Anna, daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. and see that the prophetess Anna lived more than 700 years after the expulsion of the 10 tribes. The truth is that the majority of the 10 tribes of Israel, were expelled. And now let's find out who they are today. There are several groups that proclaim themselves to be descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And now we are going to learn about each of the main theories and use history, archaeology, and genetics to try to find out if they really are or if they are imposters. The first and main theory that I want to tell you about are the Samaritans. The Samaritans are a group of about 1,000 people who live in the region of Samaria. Samaria, folks, is exactly where the kingdom of Israel was located. And they believe that when the Assyrians took the people away, they are the remnants that remained. And as we said, we know that there were remnants that were not exiled. But we also know that the remnants that were not exiled. But we also know that there were other people, Gentile foreigners, who were brought in place of the people of Israel, and that these foreigners also began to worship the God of Israel. And the question is, are the Samaritans the ones who stayed or the ones who were brought in? The king of Syria brought people from Babylon, from Kuta, from Ava, from Ramate, and from Sepharvaim, and made them live in the cities of Samaria in place of the children of Israel. The Samaritans claim to be descendants of the tribe of Manasseh, Ephraim, and Levi. But are they really? Do historical research confirm this origin? We see from the languages they speak that Samaritan Hebrew and Samaritan Aramaic, the same languages of the people of Israel, not foreign languages. Their entire way of worshiping the God of Israel, it is the same. There is a big difference, that for them the center of worship is not here in Jerusalem, but on Mount Gerizim, in Samaria. But all the rest of their faith and practices are identical to how it was done by the 10 tribes of Israel. But really, to clear up the doubt once and for all, genetic tests were done. And their genetic test on the paternal side confirms that they are descendants of the people of Israel, that their Jewish deoxyribonucleic acid is the same as the Jewish deoxyribonucleic acid of Jews from other parts of the world. The research states the following. The analysis of the main components suggested a common ancestry of the Samaritan and Jewish patriarchal lineages. Most of the first can be traced back to a common ancestor in what is now identified as the Israeli high priest, paternally inherited Kohanim with a common ancestor projected to the time of the conquest, the Syria of the Kingdom of Israel. Did you just hear what the scientific research concluded? That he indeed has a common descent with the rest of the people of Israel, also linked to the priesthood, to the Kohanim. This means that he is part of the tribe of Levi, just as they said, Manasseh, Ephraim, and Levi. So the current conclusions are that the Samaritans really are, at least on their paternal side, descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And on the maternal side, we are not sure. It could be that the women were indeed part of the people of Israel, or it could be that they also married foreign women brought by the Assyrians. Another theory is the Beta Israel, which literally means Assyrians. Another theory is the Beit Israel, which literally means we are talking about many people. It's a community of over 170,000 people who believe they are direct descendants of the tribe of Dan. The question is, how did the tribe of Dan get to Ethiopia, so far from Israel and the region of ancient Syria? We know that Ethiopia and Israel have had relations since the beginning of biblical times. We even have the story of the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon. The queen from what is now Ethiopia, she hears about the riches and wisdom of King Solomon, and she travels to the land of Israel to meet him in person. And this already shows the relations between the nations. So how did the people of Israel get to Ethiopia? They got there since that time. Since the time of King Solomon, there were some migratory waves, and thus the Jewish community of Ethiopia is created, which is mainly formed by the tribe of Dan. And this subject was studied in depth, and historians and researchers from Israel really see the ties of Beta Israel with the land of Israel. And that's why in 1977, the Rabbinate of Israel officially recognizes them as descendants of the people of Israel and gives them the right to migrate. And that's why almost the entire community lives in Israel today. Of the 170,000, 160,000 live in Israel, and they represent 2.3% of all of Israel today are Jews of Danite origin, Ethiopian Jews. The third group we're going to talk about are the Lemba. They are roughly 50,000 people and live in Zimbabwe and South Africa. And they claim to be descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. And indeed, they maintain some Jewish practices. They observe the Sabbath, do not eat pork and unclean animals. They perform shchita, which is the Jewish ritual slaughter, and try to marry only within the Lemba community. But throughout history, they ended up converting, and most today practice Christianity and not Judaism. But still, they maintain their roots from the people of Israel. A question that arises is how the people of Israel get so far. In Zimbabwe and South Africa, could this story really be true? And then the scientists come in who started doing genetic tests. Two types of genetic tests. The first is on the Y chromosome, which checks the patriarchal lineage. And in this lineage, they conclude that they really have a connection with part of the people of Israel and with the lineage of the Cohen from the tribe of Levi. And they also did mitochondrial deoxyribonucleic acid tests to check the maternal lineage. And in this test, it was concluded that there is no origin from the people of Israel. This means that, yes, there were people from Israel who reached this region, but they also mixed with part of the local populations. And now, finally, let's talk about the Bnei Menashe, which means the sons of Manasseh. Where did the tribe of Manasseh end up? It ended up where India is today. Tradition says that after they were expelled to the region of Syria, Iraq, they then migrated to China, and from China they went to India, where they spent the last centuries. And the interesting thing about the sons of Manasseh is that they maintain deeply rooted Jewish traditions to this day. Some that come from biblical times with circumcision is very important to them. They perform Ashrita, the Jewish ritual slaughter. They performed the Passover sacrifices, the Paschal sacrifice. Think that they were expelled and exiled before the destruction of the Jerusalem temple. So when the people of Judah stop making sacrifices, they don't get the memo and continue making sacrifices to this day. It's a small community, even more so if we consider the size of India's population. And just over 20 years ago, the state of Israel officially recognized them as descendants of the lost tribe of Manasseh. And they were granted the right to migrate to Israel. So 7,000 remain in India to this day, waiting for the day they will be able to return to the land of their ancestors, and 4,000 have already arrived every year, every month. They continue with the preparations, and I want to show you now the video of their last arrival. Imagine the emotion of returning to the land of your ancestors after 2,700 years of exile. Amen. During these 2,700 years, there were also mixed marriages and conversions, but their roots and traditions remain very much as they were when they lived here in the land of Israel. And the biblical prophecies have long spoken of the return of the people of Israel to their land. On that day, the Lord will again extend his hand to reclaim the remnant of his people who are left from Syria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Ethiopia, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. He will raise a banner for the nations, gather the exiles of Israel, and assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And we see this same promise from God in other prophecies that you can stop and read now on the screen. And for a long time, these prophecies seemed impossible. The people of Israel were scattered around the world. Both the kingdom of Judah was in exile and the 10 tribes were lost. And since 1948, with the independence of the modern state of Israel, the people began to return to their land. And even more in recent years, with historical archaeological research and deoxyribonucleic acid tests, technology helping to rediscover who the 10 tribes were, and they began to return. We saw the tribe of Dan Beta Israel returning from the 70s. And now we are witnessing with our own eyes the tribe of Manasseh returning. It really is very exciting and prophetic to see all this happening in our days. The 10 lost tribes have begun to be found. Not all of them have been found yet, but we already see that slowly, with the help of science, technology, and historians, they have begun to be revealed, and especially to return to their land, as the prophets prophesied well over 2,000 years ago. There are still other theories about who the lost tribes of Israel might be, but we still have no proof of these groups, but I am sure that much will still be revealed in the coming years. If you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. A big kiss and see you next time.